what do you think links the stories together that brings some commonality or some uniqueness and perspective to sort of the plight of the inmates and the future, right? Because, I mean, theoretically, you're supposed to put people in prison to be reformed and then get them the tools ready to be, quote unquote, productive members of society when they get out. What would be good insights from them?
Well, that's a watered down concept that they keep selling the taxpayers so they can get more funding. That's one thing I learned growing up in a crew in Kansas City that somebody set me straight on. They're like, Bud, you don't get it. The cops don't want less crime. They want more, the people that are in charge, they want more bad stuff so they can get more funding. He's like, you got it all twisted. You go from this age-old schoolboy mentality that the cops are here to fight crime, and they're not. It's the thing that you can bet. I'm not the only one. I'm not the only shining light here. There are a few, and believe me when I say, out of the thousands, a few people that have realized this is a dead-end life. I don't want it. And they're trying to affect changes in their life as only they can do with the very limited tools that they have available through them because of their geography right now, because of where they live. And the tools are coming from the administration. I don't know. I mean, I'm going to put you in connection with a couple of those people. One of them I've got high hopes for, and that's that Jay Reed. He's actually my neighbor, and in a very tough love way, in a very blackish way, because believe me, ethnic groups, there are differences. In all our differences, that's the beauty of it. I don't want to live in a one world, one mind mentality, one person world. I love the different flavors and the differences that come from experiences in life. What if every day you woke up and the Groundhog Day? What if every day you woke up and it was the same people and the same experiences and the same problems or lack of every day? I says, how freaking boring would that be? So in all our ethnic differences, we have cultural differences, and that's what I like about other ethnic groups. But Jay Reed is his nickname, and I appreciate that because you'd be surprised how many guys go by different names unrelated. Finding a guy that just goes by his Christian name on the yard nowadays is slim to none. Like when guys ask me, yo, OG stands for Original Gangster, and that's a common prison. They're like, yo, OG, what do they call you? And I was like, Vince. They were like, Vince. And I was like, yeah, my first name. I mean, that's what my mother named me, so it's good enough, I guess. His call name is Jay Reed, not Jay Real or Jay Reed, R-E-E-D, and that's just Jay is his initial for his first name, which is Jeremiah. And so instead of getting catchy and trying to live some sort of fantasy altar life, he is who he is, and he's been through the trenches, and he's trying to figure out, claw himself out, in only ways that he can, but he spent a considerable amount of his time in the penitentiary. But he's my neighbor, and I sit back, and when I've got a TV here. Everybody's ultimate pacifier in the penitentiary is a TV, a 15-inch TV screen, and but they sell you headphones that come with the TV so you can listen to it. And ironically enough, I don't ever listen to mine, ever. I put mine on closed captions, and I'll sit and watch it. And there's various reasons for that, but let's not get into that for now. But he's my neighbor, and so I hear a lot of his conversations. He hears more, I think, than I tell him I hear, but I really like what he's got. He's kind of got some very street values and morals that, are a little rough around the edges, but his core, he's got his value system is pretty good and like-minded to mine. Yeah, you'll get to talk to him, and there's a couple other guys, and I don't know, Mike, because it's very easy to dry a guy out. And at the end of the day, I believe this, at the end of it all, if a guy sits and thinks for a minute, with today's distractions, that's very few. I mean, very few. I know you get it when you go up, because there'll be many times I'll be beating the piss out of the phone trying to get a hold of you for something that really isn't that important, but because my OCD says, damn it, he's not taking the call like I think he should be according to my expectations, it frustrates me. But I know sometimes you're up in the mountains or on the river, you're up getting back to nature, and I'm sure that's your time to clear your head out and just get some alone time and just think things through. And that's a great freaking thing, because if people did more of that in life, I think the world would be a better place. I used to play cards a lot, pinochle, and the guy that taught me, he'd be like, okay, we got to get this straight. He's like, every time you lay a card on the table, he goes, I want you to ask yourself, why am I going to do it, and why did I do it? He goes, if you're not doing that, then there's no strategy. You're not thinking. You're just throwing cards. And if you apply that in life, if you're not thinking things through, you're just doing stuff. And usually it's stupid stuff. If you think it through, and it's hard to do sometimes, but I know you're up there getting back to nature. And if more people thought things through before they acted and just didn't act on impulse, which is what animals do, by the way. That's one of the civilities that separates us, is People have reasoning. Animals do not. They act off instinct. But if more people thought things through, then, the world would be a better place. But where I'm going with this is, I don't know. I've got only time will tell. We all know at our core, if we think for a minute or spend a little time of introspection, we all know what we should do. Very few people actually do it. That takes some fortitude and tenacity, buddy, because usually the things that you're supposed to do are not the easiest things. And water does choose a path of least resistance.